Alright guys, welcome to another video, and in this video we'll be looking at Excel errors. Excel errors. And I know the first thing that will come to mind is maybe it came, maybe it didn't. You at some point might have faced some Excel errors and you know how frustrating they can be. Working with formulas alone can be frustrating, especially when you're just getting familiar with Excel environment. So imagine you're trying to do something, right, and then you want to click something else. Let's say, for example, you're using a navigation key on your keyboard, the bottom right, the up arrow, down arrow, left arrow, right arrow, or you accidentally click something and then it messes up your formula. Of course, a beginner will just clear out everything because they're already frustrated and confused. But throughout the series of functions, we have learned how to edit formula comfortably, right? The best way, instead of getting annoyed, frustrated, confused, is just to enter your formula bar up here and take your cursor, right, using a mouse or your trackpad, right? You click where you want to edit a formula and then you delete something from there, retype whatever it is that you're supposed to type in there, right? So that is the best way. So working with formulas alone can be that way. Let alone after you're working with the formula, then you run into an error. So that's more like double trouble, and we don't like that. Anything that gives us stress. The way our brain is designed is to avoid stress for us. It's trying to keep us from anything else stressful. So our brain sometimes tends to freeze or just almost give up once we hit that kind of error. Just like, I'm just trying to figure this thing out, it's not even working, and you want to vent, you want to rant, you want to yell. But I know how it feels, okay? And that's why I decided to dedicate a full video to teaching you or showing you the common and even the uncommon Excel errors you might encounter. Note the common ones and even the uncommon ones. What we'll be doing in this video is we will be simulating those errors. We'll list them, we'll simulate them so that you can know what causes them. Understanding why, how are very important. So you see what are the likely things that could cause these errors, and then we'll look at how to professionally fix them or undo them. That way, you'll build your confidence, you'll be more calm and professional when handling Excel functions, formulas, and dealing with errors. So I listed some objectives right there already. You see objectives by the end of this training. Just look at the formula bar, don't worry that you can see them here. You understand why error happens, why errors happen. You diagnose error logically. That's a typo, my bad. You'll fix errors confidently, and you'll stop fearing Excel errors. You know that moment when you see an Excel error and you're like, what is going on? What is this? You're just there, annoyed, frustrated, and all of that, right? One thing is certain: every Excel error is telling you something specific. Every Excel error is telling you something specific. Okay, and what is that in the Excel error is telling you, or what are you giving Excel errors? Let's see. How do you think? The error thinking model. Just keep your eyes in the formula bar. I know you're not seeing anything there. You probably know what I did, and you might not know. It's okay. So Excel error. How should you think? When you hit an error, Excel is telling you, what is Excel trying to do? That's how you think. Is it that Excel is trying to do something else for me? Or what did I give to Excel? Why is it giving me what I don't want? Or where is the mismatch? What am I doing wrong, right? According to the rule of programming. I don't know if there's a rule of programming like that, but yes, I know in programming, one thing we know, or one thing we say, I think it's more of general computer science thing, where it says your computer cannot be wrong, can never be wrong, the machine can never be wrong, you're the one who can do something wrong. So if something is not working, you are the one who is not doing it rightly. One fundamental basis of computer hardware is let's say for example you're coupling, you're dismantling, and you're trying to couple back a computer system, is the law of zero, ZIF, zero insertion force. What does ZIF mean? Zero insertion force. And it does not necessarily apply to only computers. You can understand what I'm saying when I explain it. Zero insertion force means when you're trying to put a component into a position and it's not fitting and it seems as if you're trying to force it in, you can tell that that is not the right way to do it. Imagine you want to plug, let's say, a charger adapter into a wall socket or into an extension box that does not fit, and you're trying to force it in. Eventually, if you force it in, you force your way in, you will damage either both of them or either, right? So that is the same thing with Excel errors or functions. Excel is not wrong. Okay, let's keep that in mind. Excel cannot be wrong. So we are the ones who probably do something wrong, either accidentally, okay, intentionally, or anyhow. But it does not matter, because by the end of this video, you'll be more confident, more calm, and professional handling Excel formulas and errors. So I don't know if you're excited already. Let's jump into it. Okay, so the function errors. Let's look at the common errors, right? These are the common core errors. Yes, and look here. I'm sure you might have seen some of these errors before in your journey at one point or the other, right? So yes, we'll be looking at all of this first. These are the things we'll be considering first. And no, there is no data in here. I did not do anything to it. You can see there's nothing in here. So we have our data and we'll go and pick it. So let's go to our data set. Okay, so right here is our data and we'll pick it. Now, before I pick this data, you can tell that we have some issues with the data. Yeah, we have none. What other issue do we have? Okay, we can't really tell what's going on here. We just have zeros and okay, let's look at the header. Okay, good. Now we have 0.1, which is the discount. We have some 0.50. We have some hashtag errors here, which is the first one we'll be talking about. We have some here inconsistent format, something like that. We have just numbers. Are they dates? Could they be dates? See, these are the problems that we always encounter. Okay, let's look at this other one. We have ID. See, now this is a string. We have blank typed in as blank. We have 10. You see, we have negative price, which is wrong. We're not supposed to have a negative price. We have a text date. What does that even mean? Now, you'll be thinking, well, why is this like this? In the real world of analytics, you cannot guarantee a clean data. I repeat that. In the real world of analytics, you cannot guarantee yourself a clean data. The reason is simple. Data is affected by human behavior, systems, and constraints. When I say human behavior, for example, data entry, okay, when a human needs to enter data for some reason, typos can happen, right? All of these things can happen. For systems, it can be glitches. Have you ever made a transaction before where let's say at a point, maybe you're trying to pay for something, and then you were debited, they were not credited. Just think of it that way. So systems can have glitches, there could be constraints, and all of that. So different reason why in the real world of analytics, you cannot be guaranteed a clean data. And this is a very important reason. You should learn how to clean up messy data. Okay, so very, very important. So what are the formulas? What are the issues? What are the errors we could encounter? This is not data cleaning notes. This is just to simulate Excel errors and learn how to handle them. Don't worry, I'll be dedicating another video to data preparation where you learn the process of data cleaning, feature engineering, data formatting, basically preparing your data before you proceed to analysis. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump into it. So we'll be using this first data. So I'll copy this, Control C, and then move it here. Paste in here, Control V. Nice. So this is what we have. And the first error we will be learning is the hashtag error. Again, I remind you, this is what you face in the real world. So you might as well just prepare your heart to learn how to handle data professionally. Okay. So it's something you always see. We cannot guarantee clean data in the real world. Why? It's subjected. Data can be affected by human behavior, systems, and constraints. So keep that in mind. So let's jump into the first one and start fixing it. Yes. Imagine you're working and you see one of these errors. How do you feel? That's right. I know it's hungry. Why can't it just work? I mean, but the magic doesn't happen that way. It could be intentionally, it could be unintentionally, but we have to learn how to fix it either way. So the first one is the hashtag error. Why am I starting with the hashtag error? Because it's the simplest, basic, it's common. It should not necessarily be considered an error. I'll just say an Excel way of formatting some values based on a constraint. Yeah, let's use the grammar that way. What do I mean? When you see an hashtag error, it can only mean one thing. The column is too small. The width of the column is too small to accommodate the values. That's all it means, nothing else. The column width is too small to accommodate the values. So if I click here, you can see that there is something in there that is displaying properly if you look at the formula bar. Just that the width of the column is too small. So what do? Come here. Do not forget our cursor is important. When we see this draggable icon between B and C, just double click once and it expands. Boom! All our errors are gone. All the errors are gone. Now, of course, your eyes caught it already. You might be thinking, why do we have this here? Why do we have this here? This is just formatting issue, not necessarily an Excel error. This is just formatting issue. There are date as well. If you did watch the dates time functions when we covered it, you understand which date this is, which date this is. If you did not, we want to check it out. Okay. Now we have been able to fix the first most common Excel error. Do not, I just typed it either way. The numbering does not really matter like that, so just ignore. So yes, you can see the column width cannot display the number. So I have it there. So let's bring that up. So these are the ones we have done. So we'll put it on automatic. Boom. Now it's showing. So whenever you see this error, you should know that, of course, we'll bring it out as well. These are the things we do. Okay, I think I should use a background color. Should I use a background color so I don't... Okay, this light one or the dark one? The light one is better. Okay. So whenever we see this error, hashtag error, yeah, I know you might be saying white looks better. Don't worry, let's keep it this way. The column width cannot display not necessarily the number or the value. But most times a number, why is it a number? Because if it's a text, we have probably seen that it overflows automatically. So it's usually when it's a number or date, and dates are numbers in a way. So that's why it's I typed in the numbers in there, but the value is better. Let's just keep it as value. Okay, you have seen another one. All right, so that's the first one. We will be fixing, okay, and we have fixed it already. The next one we'll be fixing now is let's just pick randomly. Let's pick randomly. Let's say the value error. Okay, so we want to fix the value error. We will be simulating the value error. Okay, after simulating the value error, no, let's start with the number error. The value error is easy peasy. You can see that's why I put it across it. So let's start with the number error. I've given you one very simple one, so let's do a little, not so challenging, but let's do one that is more fun. Okay, so the number error, what can cause the number error? The number error is caused basically when you have a value too small or too large than Excel can handle. Too small or too large than Excel can handle. For example, the square root of a negative value. That's the most common one. Let's try it out. Equals to SQRT, and I put in minus 4. Boom! Number error. Number error. Now, after this particular function, before we move to other errors, I'll be giving you some hints, some things you should look out for. For example, this green box, right? They are warning signs. It's possible you haven't seen them in Excel before, but you have been ignoring them. You see this green flag at the top? Of course, it's not meant to be a green flag, but I think a yellow flag is better because it's more like a warning, right? But Excel decided to use green. Who are we to complain to Excel? So maybe in future version, maybe the upgrades in the coming years, it will be a yellow flag, not a green flag. Okay, because it's meant to be a warning. Now you can see, do not forget. I know the common thing I've seen about data analysts, or not necessarily data analysts, people who are Excel, let's say Excel users, let me use the word users, regardless of the level, is that the belief is that they do not really understand, some do not really understand, let me put it that way, the underlying cause of number error. So if they were to simulate it, they just use of course, the same thing I use, square root of a negative number. But why? It is any value that is too large or too small than Excel can handle. So the number will result into very small or very large than Excel can handle. That is when we get that kind of error. So that is one. What else can we do with number error? So let me just, I think I'll add more columns here. Shift plus plus. Since this is the common one, what else can we do for the Excel errors? Let's say, for example, we want to take factorial of a number greater than 170, right? Factorial of 1. If I do for 170, that's the maximum Excel can return. You see, that's the maximum we can return, and say exponential. So 306. So if I just do 1, boom, number error. That is way too large. I can't undo that. Excel is telling you that number is too large. That's another cause for number error. Okay. What other cause can we have for number error? Let's say we want to take the log of 0. Mathematically, log of 0 will be infinity. Okay. So that will be infinity, or tending towards infinity, which is typically, let's say, undefined. Right? You can see how we got number error again. We are still getting number error. And you can see they don't have the green flags, right? It's showing a warning. So it says there's a problem with the number. There's a problem with the number used in this formula. You see, if I come here as well, it says there's a problem with the number. There's a problem. You get the idea. Just read it yourself. Okay. So these are some reasons why we could have Excel errors. Or let's say exponential. Let's see, exponential should be able to do that as well. Exponential. So let's say, let me do it mathematically. So you might not have a function. Let's say 100. Try to do 100. 10 raised to the power of 500. Right? That's another way you can do it. Just try that on your own. So you can do that. Tell me what you get. Leave a comment in the comment section. You'll definitely get a number error as well. Okay, you definitely get a number error as well. So tell me, what did you get? What did you get? Yeah, you must have. I believe you've commented that. So let's do it together. So let's say 10 raised to the power, that's shift 6, that's the angle, this upward facing arrow, that's the exponential sign. Let's say raised to the power of 6000 or 6009. Boom, number error. You can see that. Let's use the exponential function so that even those who have it can also use that. EPX, let's just put EXP, I mean, just go exponential 5000, that's E raised to the power 5000. You can see we're still getting number error. Now, there are other formulas I could have shown you, But because of my version of Excel, right? Excel have in the recent version, more recent version, and 365, Excel has more better ways of handling these errors. For example, one of the things we have seen before is a negative value, right? We've seen how a negative value, for example, minus 700, you see how if I do it this way and put a dollar sign minus 700, you can see how nicely it's formatted it for me. It just gives me that bracket and red color. Now these are new ways, Excel, due to the update and that, everything is becoming nicer and well better, doing more and more and more. So there are other values I could have done. For example, if I'm trying to take the square roots, still on number errors, the square roots of let's say a negative value. I said the negative value is string like this, right? This 5 is a string, not an actual number, but Excel will automatically convert it to a number for me. What do I mean? You don't understand that? Let me do this for you. So the first one is a text, the second one is not. So if I tell you, is this equals to this, just a quick way of comparison, logical operation, you remember, you can see it's telling me false. They are not the same because this is a text. But if I remove the column now, or the quotes, now this is true. So but Excel finds a way of basically handling that for me. How did it do that? You can say it's used the value formula, right? Let me show you what I mean. Let me undo that. Undo again, false. So what if I wrap this in value? So value, click here, close it. Okay, now it's showing me value error. So let me just do that outside. Now you have seen another formula anyway. So escape, undo, and bring that in here. Value. Oops. I'm just simulating different errors for you, but of course we'll still look at them properly. Then click on this. Okay, now this, because I literally typed this, if this were acting as a text, right? If this were to be acting as a text, like I said, the newer version of Excel have ways they handle things underneath, right? Now it's trying to convert. We're not doing value error here, but let me just explain what's going on. It's trying to convert the double quote to a number as well, not just the 5 in here, but there are some values that appear as text, and we'll be looking at them. There are some values that when you import, this can be due to data source or whatever reason, they import as text. So when you come in as text and you're trying to perform arithmetic operation on them, they start giving you funny values or start showing different errors. Okay, so that is the reason we get those kind of errors. But let's continue with that. So the point I'm trying to make here is, for example, this normally would have resulted into a number error when I'm trying to calculate the square root of a text value. Let's think of it financial function as well. Let's say IRR or rate that fails to converge. This can also give us a number error. Look, these are different reasons why we could get number errors. These are different reasons why we could get number errors. But let's look at this again. Like I said, I won't be able to show you all of this function because Excel will find a way to format them for me. So let's do ABS. You know what ABS means now? Absolute. So I'm saying negative 100. That's negative of $100. This is supposed to try. It says, do you want to accept correction? Look at what Excel does for me. Boom. Excel just removes the dollar sign. It just removes it for me and it doesn't throw error. So what if I did here like this 100? You see what it did. And if I now do ABS like this, okay, I can't see that column, but that is H what? H13. The formula sum is not letting me see it, so H13. And that's H13. Okay, you can see. So even though the way I type it, it's just use the dollar sign as formatting, wrap it in all of this. But the point is, again, I repeat, Value error is when the number is usually too large or too small. So boom, there you go. So let's put this there as well. I've done that. Number error, please. Number error. It says invalid number, usually too large or too small, or mathematically impossible. So example is just the square root of a negative value, factorial of a number greater than 170, and more and more and more like that. Okay, so these are the causes for number error. And yes, now you know what the problem with the number error could be. So let's find another simple one, right? Just another simple one. Then we move on to the next error. So which other error do you think is so simple? Comment it in the comment section. But I'll just go with let's say div error. Div error is also simple. Let's see here. Oh, so I have some. All right, let me keep this as errors. I'll just type errors in there. Errors. I'll do okay. Okay. Let me enter first. I need to enter, then format it. Okay. That should go. Okay. Why is it still like that? Is there an issue? Hold on. Let's hold on. Highlight. Okay, we'll do that again. I'm noticing there's a slowdown. I might need to stop this in between. I'm not sure. Then okay, I think we're good now. Okay, shift this, good. So all the errors that we want. So you can see this is not a merge and center. You can see our value is actually in column G, but just formatted nicely across the columns. So Control B, and you might have noticed I did not put it in. I did not put it in a, what's it called now? In a bracket or in a table. I mean, I did not put it in a table. There's a reason for that. So that table does not add to, I think this is included in the column. So that table does not add to the error styling. So it doesn't add some error styling as well. Okay. So this is our added columns. This is the original data we're working with. I'll just do Control Shift Plus here now. It's still including it, undo. So I'll just move this instead. Move it one way. All right, good. So now we have seen different number errors. Okay, so what can I put here? Let's just make it, it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to exhaust it. So we have seen two errors. The next one we want to look at is div error. And how do we do div error? So I can, now do not forget, I'm just using this data set as reference. I can pull from here, pull from anywhere. So let's say I want to divide. Oh, escape. We have not learned how to fix the number error. How do we fix the number error? I said I was going to keep it for the end of the of all of these functions, but it's important I mention it now. How do we fix the number error? It's important we know why. So when we know why, we know how. Since the why is, the number is too large or too small. Okay. Now we have an ultimate function that can help us do this very well. Now we know that whenever we want to perform operations that could result into a very large number, a very low number, right? We can always wrap our functions in if error. If error. Now, if error works with if any as well. If error works with lookup function as well, because any is also an error, right? So the ultimate function to use is to wrap your value in if error. So let's say this is if error. So if this calculation results in an error, what do I want to do? Do not forget, if you're feeling intimidated, if you're not comfortable yet, editing your formula here. Okay, let me click out first. You can see what I said about formulas. For example, you might just want to say you want to click left or click right, and then the cell reference change, or accidentally type something like this and you're feeling annoyed or frustrated. It's okay, just come into your formula bar, which is a better place to edit your formula. Click on it, and I'll take out that guy. Now I'll say if error. Remember, if you need to break it into multiple lines, Alt Enter. So if error, if this results into an error, tell me maths impossible. That's, you can put anything in there. Maths impossible. So you can put anything in there. So now we are seeing what? We're seeing maths impossible. So we're seeing maths impossible instead of that random error. You can do the same thing for all of this, okay? You can do the same thing for all of this. But if it's something you have more control over, the best thing is to go back to where the issue occurred and fix the problem. But here we're not referencing any cell. So let's make this a cell reference. So let me put in the negative value here, -4. Okay, I'll come back here. Instead of typing it directly, I'll reference this cell. And you can see we're still getting what? Math impossible. But what can we do? We can come here. Since we know where the formula is, the error is coming from, just double click it. It's going to highlight. Okay, there are more advanced way to do this. There are more advanced way to debug formulas and undo them, but the best and simple shortest way is this. So double click on the formula, it will highlight where the cell or the formula reference is. But if it's a cross sheet, just look for the name. Okay, then go to that sheet to fix the error. Now it's highlighting this cell for us, which means there's a problem coming from this cell, right? So what do? Just come here, since we know that, oh, negative error. Just come back here and take out the what? The negative sign. And then we'll get 2. That's one way. Another way is we come here and say, since we know that we might have negative value at some point, so we might as well wrap it in absolute, right? Because absolute automatically takes away the negative value for us. But the trick of this, the problem with this is simple. Hold on, why is that slowing down? Okay, let's hold on. That is supposed to display something. Okay, now the problem with this is problem directly from where it's coming from, because now we have been able to do a calculation proof or an error proof function. We've been able to come up with an error proof formula that will let us be able to trace the actual error to where it's coming from. So what if this needs to be used somewhere else, right? So this is not the best way. The best way is to fix it from the source itself. So I'll undo that. I've removed the absolute by undoing Ctrl Z. Okay, so that's by the way. Just let me give you the hints. What are the hints? Do not ignore the green flags. I know it doesn't sound logical to you. You're used to red flags, but yeah, at least yellow flag warning. And green flags are there, but they're like good. But in this case, that's not it. So do not ignore Excel green flags. Excel green flags. Oops, why is it showing a name error? Okay, yeah, I know why. Now I've always mentioned that equal to is not the only way you can start a formula. You can see automatically by using the hyphen, which is the minus, it thought I was trying to perform a formula, and it automatically added equal to for me. Of course, I can use the plus symbol as well. That's not important. So another thing I can do is use if error. And use if error to output likely to output errors with description, right? Rather than the dynamic, or rather than the generic error itself, right? To avoid the error showing itself, like num error, this error. So now that is the main reason we are learning. That's the main reason we are learning what causes the error, how do they happen, why do they happen, so that we can know when we're writing this kind of function or a kind of formula, we can know the description to put, right? For example, math impossible or number too small or big. That way I can know, oh, whenever I see number too small or big, number too small or big. So I know that, oh, this is a norm error. This is a norm error. You can see I'm taking long on this, just giving a good foundation. Other ones will not be stretching it this much. What else can we do again? You use green flag. Do not ignore the green flag. For example, you can come here and read in advance. Okay, I have to attend to something quickly. Yes, where were we? I believe we're trying to list this out. So with this, once you don't ignore the error, you read them, right? It can help you on this error, okay, number error. You can click on the number error. It's telling me it's a number error anyway. That's what the number error means. It says help on this error, show calculation steps. So this can also help you look at, right? Excuse me. It can also help you trace, oh, what's causing it. When I do this now, it's going to show me the formula I used in there. And see, if I have evaluate, this will also help me trace all the places where I've used the formula, which is a very cool option. Okay, so this blue flag is your good guy, and you can ignore it if you're sure. Sometimes we ignore the formulas because we know what we're doing. You can edit directly in formula bar, it takes you to the formula bar. So you can see all of these features. See just the green flag alone doing all of this. And if you want to go online, this will take you online. You can click on help on this error. So to give you a description of what you're probably doing or similar scenarios and let you know how you can fix the errors. Okay. So yes, this using if error with any of your functions, you work with is a general purpose thing. So if the function is likely to throw an error, you can just use the if error, which will be a bulletproof, right? Or an error proof, not bulletproof in this case, right? That's how we use it. It's just two arguments. Your calculation or whatever function you're using, just put everything as long as they might be. It could be index match, it could be VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP. No, there's no need for XLOOKUP, and I'll tell you why. Even lookup functions anyway. If any is better for lookup functions because it's more specific. Okay. So whatever your formula is, just put it in here, then a comma, then what you want to see if the formula results into an error. So I believe with that, you do well in your career. Okay, so let's jump to the error. What are the likely causes of the error? The error occurs when you're trying to divide by an empty cell, or when you divide by an empty cell or by 0. Okay, that's when you get a div error. So let's simulate that. So I'll say, let's say the price divided by 0, for example. Boom, div error. Let's look at our guy, our green flag. Okay, it says divide by 0 error. So you can use all of this to fix the problem. And do not forget using if error to output it. I won't be doing that throughout all of this video. That's just for you to know. Okay. So when you're trying to divide, that means you can use if error. So, and say can't divide, since you know what the problem is, right? That's the point of learning it. So can't divide by 0. It's just like you sharing, let's say, a cake between 0 people. Sharing a cake between 0 people does not make sense. You see, you can't even think of it. How can you share something between nobody? That's what you're trying to do, because we have a number that wants to divide into a certain number of things. So you're trying to share something among people who does not exist. That does not make sense. So it says can't divide by 0, which is a very good way to do it. So what if I do another div error? So this will be the last one, and then we'll move on to the next one. Oops, not that. Oh, don't mind me. I'll click on this and say divided by, and just reference any empty cell. Okay, any empty cell. So I'll click on this. You see the cell is empty, and I'm getting div error as well. Why? Because I'm referencing an empty cell. And yes, we have been able to do this. So let me say it's dividing by 0 or an empty cell. So as usual, take this and this becomes green. Now we have fixed that. All right, on to the next one. That is another simple one. So let's look at one that might be a little bit nice, not so challenging. The CALC error. This error is caused by new new functions, and is usually associated to arrays. Usually associated to arrays, or when you're trying to perform, maybe say an empty array, you're trying to perform a complex formula or a complex calculation. I mean, it's not a common error. Like I said, we'll be looking at the common ones and the uncommon ones, so that when you ever encounter it, you can know what is going on. So, the calculation error, or the calc error. What is an array? You know, when we're looking at one of these functions, we're seeing the @ sign, right? So most times when there's an empty array or something, or we're trying to calculate a very complex calculation, that can result into a calc error. So I'll just simulate something for you. Let's say, for example, I want to filter this data. Yes, we have the filter function in Microsoft 365. If you're using the newer version of more recent version of Excel, you should be able to see this. So it says array includes an if empty. I'll just simulate something. So here I will come here. Let's say I want to filter this data. Okay. I'll highlight this, comma, and we have duplicate here. Right, cable adapter tags. Okay. And then I want to say, let me filter by tax. And I'll intentionally type it as TS. Okay. And I'll close it. I'll ignore the last one. And you can see I'm getting no. What did I do? Oh, my bad. Hold on first. So this, I've not highlighted the column. I'll highlight this. Okay. So this is what I want to, by tax. Or I'll type it as TS and close it. Oh, it's telling me we found a typo. Oh, typo, yeah, double equal to. Like I said, before you accept corrections, it's good. Excel is smart. It's just trying to help you. It is important you understand what is going on, of course, so that I can know what you did wrong next time before you accept it. And I can see what I did wrong already, so I'll go ahead to accept it. Or I can just say no and correct it myself. But since I figured it out, look at this place. We have two double closing bracket. No, two double. That's tautology, right? Okay, we have double closing brackets, so it's just remove one from here, and I'm cool with that. So boom, and you can see I'm getting a calc error. And what is it saying? Oh, it says empty array. You can see I told you that it's when there's an empty array, you're trying to perform a complex calculation. In this case, would you say it's an empty array or a complex calculation? Right. So these are the reasons, or this is one reason why you might encounter something like this. There are other ways you can that you can encounter calculation error or calculation error. So what is the way out? As usual, you fix it. If I put in back tax, I might get another error. So okay. So what did I write from again? Okay. So I'm getting this is another error anyway. I'm not supposed to get this back. Okay, so what did I do? I'm just filtering the entire data by tax, so I can get out tax. And you can see how nice that came, right? See how nice that came out. So it was able to filter. This is the date for tax. What is it again? Tax. This is the date in number. If I change that to the formatting, I change it to short date. Now you should see it's exactly the same date. You can see how nice that is. So it's a filter function. Now I've corrected the error. Though there's still another error. This is a spill error eventually. If something were to be here, escape. So let me undo that first. Let me show you something. So if I put, let me just put random numbers here and come back here. And I hit enter. So you can see it's causing a spill error because it's supposed to return two things. Of course, we have not done spill error. I'm just showing you in advance. It's supposed to show two things, but something is blocking its way. Right? That's when spill error happens. But if I delete what is there, is going to spill over to the next cell. You can see that line. You see that line tracing it. We have seen this spill error before in is it a lookup function now or the mathematical function, where we intentionally removed the @ symbol that Excel adds when we are referencing a cell inside the table, right? If you have not seen the mathematical functions, do well to check it out. If you have not seen the lookup function, do well to also check it out. It's the video is just the previous video right before this one. Okay, so this is how we can fix the calculation error, or we wrap it in an if error function. So in this case, I'll just add space. That's all. If you add space to your formula, it will not act as a formula, it will act as a text, and you can see exactly what you type in there. Okay, so we're moving on to the next one. And which one should that be? Well, it should just be the spill error, since I've shown you spill error now, so it can keep synchrony. Is there anything like synchrony or synchronization? Whatever. So we can keep the synchronization. Okay, let me bring this. Let's do this as usual. This and this. It's a new error. You see, new error, new Excel error indicating an empty array or a complex calculation error. That's what you get when you do that. Okay, so we have done this. So now let's look at the spill error. The spill error is simple, just as we have seen it. It's meant to return an array. What is an array? A list. That means it's meant to return a list of formulas, right? A list of values, right? Because we highlighted an array. So if we highlight something like this, of course we have just seen it here. Let me show you again. Well, let's use this to start then. But before I do that, I'll keep it this way. Let me just put in a value here, y. So something is blocking it, right? It is meant to spill. What am I doing? I highlighted this column. Let me show you the formula again. I highlighted this column, okay, and you see, I want to filter this entire column to return only places where we have tax. It should filter something you would have done with the button at the top and all of that, right? There's a function for it, but it's either you're using 365 or you're using a newer version of Excel, okay? So this is meant to return, because if it finds tax here, it should return 2 columns back, but something else is blocking it. It's supposed to be this way, horizontal, right? So once I hit enter, it's telling me, oops, that's a spill error. If you look at it, formula, it says spill range isn't blank. That means that range where it's supposed to spill into, there's something in there. But immediately I delete it, boom, it spills over. I mean, that is enough for a spill error. What do you think? Okay, let's take one more that we can do. Let's take one more. Though I'm supposed to align them to this, but we have more data than this anyway, so there's no way I can align them to this, right? There's no way I can align them to this. So what do we do? Yeah, I'll just let's do another one. Yeah, there's another function. Now, you know cases where you have things like you have duplicate values and you want to find out the unique values in there. Let's say, for example, these are regions of people. Let's say region or locations of people, and you have more people come from the same place, right? So let's say this is west region, west, south, east, west, south, north, central, west. You just have them like that. They want to see the distinct value in there, right? How do you do that? The best way, the normal way you would have done that, if you're not using 365 or newer version of Excel. Sorry, I'm making emphasis on that because that's why there are newer functions and formulas. Okay, so it is that you go to your data and then from your remove duplicates. So when you copy them into another place, okay, because you don't want to do that in your original data, you copy them into another place and then remove duplicates, then you'll be left with the unique value. But we have a formula called unique, so let me do it on this row. Okay, we have a formula called unique, so I can do unique. And what does it do? It says unique returns unique values from a range or an array. So I'll click on that and I want to highlight all of this. So I want to see, it should filter out the duplicates there. So I just want to see the distinct product name that we have, right? So I'll just close it. I'll ignore that things by column, by one, ignore and all that, and I'll hit enter. And boom, you can see what happened. Did you pay attention? You see it flashed down, right? Let me show you again. So this thing appeared earlier, boom, in a flash when I was about to enter the formula. But now I've entered the formula already. So let's do this. It's still there anyway, it's not going. So you can see that this range is supposed to get up to this point, it's supposed to spill all the way down. Because all of these values are unique. I mean, let's see, mouse, keyboard, laptop, monitor, webcam, headset, cable, adapter, hub, drive, cable, part, label, tax sheet. Now, all of those things are supposed to what be listed out here, but there's something in its way. So that is causing what? That is causing the spill error. Now, do we fix it? I delete this. Boom. And you can see that others are not formulas. They are grayed out. If you look at the formula bar, you can see that they are grayed out. They are empty. If you enter the formula bar, they are literally empty. Why? It says we can't delete this value. The value contained in this cell split from G to delete the value, you need to delete the formula or edit it, blah, 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 blah. So you can see it's grayed out. This is where the active formula is, right? So that's something you should know about the array function or spilled formula. So of course, I'll just keep it this way so that we can have the spill error in there. You know how to fix it now. See that you take out what is in its way, or you edit your formula, change it to something else, right? Change it to something else. Okay, yeah, that is another formula, and that is the fifth one. If I'm not wrong, that's the fifth formula we are looking at. So as usual, we come here. It says dynamic array cannot output result because the destination range is blocked. This is destination. This is the destination for this. This is the destination for this. So if somebody is blocking its way, you will be getting that error. Okay. So now I believe we are getting a hang of what we're doing, and it's interesting so far. You're enjoying the video. Do you like it? Leave a comment in the section. In the comment section, you get what I mean. And yes, share the video to those who might be of need to. Maybe you know someone working. People work with Excel most times, and you want them to get better. You want to see them improve. Do what you share. Like I said, it's not always about you alone, right? It's about people, others, sharing this, letting them gain the value, and thank you for it, because they'll definitely thank you for it. If this could make someone more efficient at work, it could make them work faster, better, smarter, of course they will definitely thank you for sharing with them. So do what to share with that person that you know. Okay, I'm running low on battery, so let's see how we can wrap this up soon. The other errors are still there as well. Yeah, I know, but let's see what we can do. Next thing, it's not an issue. It's just plug it in and charge. So can divide by 0. We have done that. So we've done this. So which one should we do next? Let's go with value error. What do you think? Yeah, let's do value error. A value error is another very simple one. It's simply a data type mismatch. Simply a data type mismatch. Let's put it that way. For example, I want to create a calculation. I want to create a column here. Quantity and price, right? I want to get the actual price. I want to do unit price minus unit sold. And that is basically this asterisk multiplied. Okay, that's shift multiplied by this, right? Now hit enter. Value error, value error. But I'm trying to do what? Multiply or carry out the calculation with wrong data type. So if I wrap this in if error, so I know that this, the only error I can get is a data type mismatch. That's when it will not perform the calculation for me. So I can put it there. Data type, or I can just keep it as D type. Let's type it in full. Data type mismatch. Mismatch. And you can see how smarter and how better your formulas and functions will look. You become more smarter. You're seeing descriptive errors, not just random div error, value error, ref error, name error, and all of those things. You're seeing errors that make sense. Data type mismatch, that means you just have to trace it, right? How can you do that? Of course, with your green value. That's if we had not wrapped in if error. Okay, so if you wanted to do that yourself and you're getting the value error, so using our green button, you can say, show calculation step. Okay, so and says evaluate. Well, I think it's something is going on. Let me just close that again and do it again. Show calculation steps. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on, but I'll just close that and then move on. So just double click. If that's not to waste time, you can see the blue, the color code. I've always mentioned color codes. Color codes are important. Blue means you're referencing this, and funny enough, see new some of the new updates is that you see it's showing you the value directly in here. Your version of Excel might not be showing you that, sorry, but if it does, congratulations if you can see that. So that's one easy way as well. You can just highlight and you see that, oh, this is the value I have in there. Let me highlight this. Oh, this is the value I have in there. Just like that. Just like that. Nice. You can see you're getting professional tips. You're getting top-notch value from this place. So stick to the end of the video. There's more to share. There's more to share. Like I said, like the video, share with people, subscribe, hit the notification bell, turn it on, put it on all. If there's any new video, you are one of the first people to get it. Okay. Yeah, that's value error for you. You can think of other things and then do it all through here. And as usual, the datasets or the link to download datasets is in the description below. So get your own dataset and what start simulating more errors. And of course, if I touch on a particular error but I didn't cover all the possible scenarios, do not leave that in the comment section as well. Just type it, oh, this is the error. Or whenever you see error, how do you feel before? How do you feel, right? Let me know in the comment section. And after watching this video, how do you feel if you now see errors? Let me also know in the comment section. I would love it. Your feedback is greatly appreciated. Okay. Whether critics, whether comments, everything is welcome. If it's critics, it's to improve on what I'm doing, improve on the video and all of that, to see better ways. And if it's good comments, I mean, critics are not bad comments anyway. If it's encouraging comments, right, that will make me to do more, even more and more and more. Okay. Now let's jump to the next one. What should we do next? Let's do the reference error and get over with that. Oh, value error. So I'll just come here, do this. It says incorrect data type, such as trying to use math on text. So yeah, I think there's one more I might want to show you in here. There's not necessarily will show value error, but we'll see that in the next other errors. We'll see that in other errors. So we'll just give this a green background. Okay, the next one we'll look at the ref error. Ref error. Ref, from the word ref. Let's start with that. Ref is reference. Okay, ref is reference. How do we fix value error? Is it that you wrap them in the next if error, or you change this to an actual value? Because if I change this to 6, for example, I get the correct value. You can see that's now 418. So I'll leave them as error. I'll leave them as error here. All right, that means you update the cell where you're referencing. That's the point. So ref error, from the word ref in full will be reference. Okay, reference error will mean you are referencing a cell that does not exist. It's just like when you say your witness is a ghost. You're in a court case and then you say you have a witness. Oh, please, can you call your witness? Oh, the person has passed away, but still your witness. He can testify. What are you saying? What are you saying? The ghost cannot be your witness, right? So that's the same thing. The reference does not exist. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're talking about. So let's do something quickly. Let's simulate reference error. I'll open another sheet. So let's call this a test sheet. I won't limit anything, because we'll just leave it there. So let me just put in 5 here. That is cell B2, right? Cell B2. Put in 5 in there. Should I give it a name? Yeah, let me give it a name for now. Let me come back here. And so yeah, where do we have ref error? So let's simulate it somewhere around there. It doesn't have to be cell every time. Okay. So I want to do this. Let's say I want to perform a calculation. divided by, I just want to divide. So if you are referencing from another sheet and you want to type the reference yourself, you will have to type the sheet name. So say sheet 7, then you follow by an exclamation mark, then your cell reference B2. Okay, so sheet 7, then B2. I can see it's giving me my answer correctly. So that is, we have 5 in there if you do not forget. So that's 300 times 5. Wait, something is strange. Oh, it's divided. Okay, divided by 5. So 300 divided by 5, that's giving us 60, which is correct. Okay, and so just type in your sheet name, exclamation mark, then the cell reference. What other way can we do that? We can come here like this and just click that sheet directly, and you will see it has added the sheet name for us. Immediately we jumped into that sheet. Look at the formula bar. Again, let me go back. Let me delete it again. You see this, it is empty. The immediately I step into that sheet, it adds it for me. And I click this and see exactly what we type. You don't have to go back, you can just click enter directly from here. And it will take you back to the sheet where you have the formula. And yes, this is what we have. It's now showing 60. But what happens when I delete the sheet? So let me delete the sheet. And boom, reference error. Reference error. You can see it had ref. You can see it's the sheet name. So nice. You just added to the sheet name. You took out the sheet name and saying this sheet that you're trying to refer to does not exist. B2. So what can I do? I can change my reference so that it does not refer to that sheet again. Another way, so let's say I have this. Let's use this guy again, but let me call it. What should I call it? I'm looking for a descriptive way. Constant. Let me just call it a constant. Constant. Let's just give it that name, constant. And here I'm saying I want to do this multiplied by the constant, right? The constant, right? Hit enter. So I'm getting negative 1002. So what if I delete? What if I delete this cell? Delete. Shift cell up. Yes. Undo that. Boom. Reference error. Saying, oops, constant does not exist. Constant does not exist. Does not know the name constant again because I've deleted that cell with the name. With the name. Okay. So it's telling me it's a what? A ref error. So it's telling me it's a ref error. In this case, you can see, of course, it will not change this name for me because it's a sheet name. It's a cell name, but it's telling me that it's a what? If I highlight it now, you can see it's now showing ref. This place is the reference error. This one, I get the value, but for this, when I highlight it, I get the reference error. And that is another way to simulate the reference error. And now what do you do when a reference is incorrect or is deleted or does not exist? Like I said, you cannot have a ghost witness. You change the reference. That's all you do. You change it. You put the value you want to do in another sheet or correct the cell reference. It could be an accidental error. Okay, probably you're trying to type a sheet name and then you accidentally type a sheet name that does not exist, right? So all you have to do is correct the sheet name. Okay, so that's that for reference errors. And you see, broken reference often caused by deleting a cell, row, or columns, or even a sheet in a formula. So we'll give that, and then we'll click here and give this color. Okay. So I don't want to break this video into two. I want us to cover everything, including other errors. So stick to the very end, right? Stick to the very end. All right. The next one is, and I might just know, I might not. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, but let's continue. So the next error I want to look at is, let's look at the null error and forget about it, right? And for the null error, how does it happen? It's usually due to improper range intersection. What do I mean by improper range intersection? Say you have a formula, let's say some formula, and you're highlighting a range. And you know that you're supposed to use For denoting a range, for example, if I want to highlight this range now, this is G14, this is H17. So it's supposed to be G14 colon H17. So in case you miss the, say for example, you miss the colon, or you're typing a formula where you're supposed to separate them with an argument, or separate each argument with a colon, with a comma, and you missed out the comma separation, that can also give you a null error. It's not common, okay, but it happens. It happens. So let's do that. Let's do a sum. So this is E2 all the way down to E16. So let's say I want to type it myself. So I do E2, then I do space E16, and do that in capital E16. You can see it highlighted them, but that's supposed to be a range. And I click on enter, boom, I'm getting the what? The null error. So that's the common cause of a null error. And that is for a colon. How do we fix this? Double click and put in the colon, you see, instead of the space, and we get our value. So I'll undo that, keep it like that. You know, I said it can be due to a missing colon or a missing comma. So for the comma, I'll just do a sum. Let's say I just want to sum the first three numbers, this, comma. So let me type them. E2, comma, E3, since they're just three, I just type them. Then E4, right? E3, E4. So like that. So I want to sum E2, comma, E3, comma, E4. Then I hit enter. Boom. What happened? Yes, if you paid attention, you will notice that I missed a comma in here. I missed a comma in here. So all I have to do is what? Put the comma and hit enter, and I get the actual value, right? So that is how to simulate the spell error. And now you know how to correct it. Just check your formulas for commas or missing comma or missing colon, and that's how we correct the spell error. Okay, the null error, my bad. That's how we correct the null error. So on to the next. So we'll fix this. So let's put this here so you can see the note. That is why I'm doing that for you. Or as usual, we should probably bring it down, but we will not be able to see all the entire data set and all. So let's keep it at the side that way. And you can notice I'm using my 100% zoom level this time. Oh, how did this change? Alright, so I think we'll just highlight all of this and give it a white border just to be able to separate them. White, right? Okay. Okay, so I highlight this again now. All borders, this is all borders, okay. So that can separate them that way. Now the next one we want to look at, we just have two left. So pick mini, mo. Which one, name or any error? Okay, let's go with the name error. Let's go with the name error. And now for the name error, it's simple. It's when the formula name is incorrect or the function you're trying to perform, the function name is incorrect, right? So that is when we get a name error. So let's look at it and see how that works. Very simple. So let's say I want to do average, and for example, let's say I'm someone who uses let's say SQL. Of course I do use SQL anyway, or I use different programming language, and you know it's written differently in there. So I assumed the average work. So I want to do the average of all these numbers. Then I close that. So it's cool. Do you want to accept correction? Of course. Then 365 new version, you're smarter. They're telling me no. You're trying to do something that is not possible. I said no, I don't want. Okay, so I could have accepted the correction and move on. But I'm saying no, I don't want that. So it's throwing a name error. It's telling me I don't know the name. I don't know the name of the function you're trying to use. So what do I have to do? I just have to correct the function name, right? So I just edit it and try to enter again and accept the correction. I don't want to type it. So if I accept the correction, I get what I want. So I won't do that. Another reason could be let's say sum. So let's use the average still, average. So I typed it incorrectly now, and I close the brackets. Okay, so letting me go at all. So I just type the formula name, okay, no bracket open, and I hit enter. Now you can see now that this the formula name is correct, but somehow I accidentally hit enter. And this happens sometimes when beginners are trying to do, okay, you've typed in the formula, now you want to reference a cell. And that's why this can also happen. You're trying to reference a cell like this. You see, immediately you click on it, it closes the formula for you. Let me do that again here. Average. I've typed in the formula name, and I did not remember to open the bracket. I did not remember. The best way is once you're typing the formula name and you can see it in this list, just go there and double click on it, or use your arrow key and hit tab instead of double clicking. Anything that works for you. So what that does is that it automatically opens a bracket for you so that you don't forget that. So I'll take this out. I've typed in my formula name. What I want to do is then highlight myself. See, immediately I try to click on anything, it closes the formula. Hence, I get a name error. And you're like, oh, what is going on? No, just don't panic. Let's go back to your function or your cell. You can edit directly from formula bar. It says edit from formula bar, or you click the formula bar yourself, or you just double click, anyone that feels comfortable for you. Then you open your bracket, pass in your values, okay? So it does not necessarily mean the name is incorrect only. It also means you did not open a bracket and you're trying to reference a formula. So it says Excel does not recognize text, likely an install function or a formula name. I don't want to type all of that in here, so I typed it earlier in advance. So I'll just delete this, and it comes back. And then I'll do this as well. And yes, we are left with the NA error. Now, the NA error is simply an error that occurs when we use a lookup function and it cannot find a data. Of course, that's why I have data spice. We should have used this data at some point. This data, we have used it, or we have another one down here. I mean, we have love there, but it doesn't necessarily mean we have to use all. Maybe I might still use it when we're checking other errors, but let's see what we can do. I think I might need to bring this spice up here. Lookup ID. So let me copy this. Hold on. Control C. Function errors. Paste that down here. Okay. So I'll move this highlights. I'll move this by 2 cells. Okay, so let's say product name. Product name. Alright, so I want to get the product name. I want to get the product name for this lookup value. So let's just stick to VLOOKUP in this case. Okay, I'll do a VLOOKUP. So let's start with this. Okay, let me just come here and do for this. Doesn't matter, let's do for everything. My bad. So I'll click on this, the lookup value. Okay, now lookup value, what is my table? This is my table. Okay, I'll highlight the table and I want false. Now another thing, another hint I'll give you. Which column am I returning from? The second column. Of course, you should know what I'm doing by now. If you cannot comprehend what I'm doing, that means you probably missed out on the lookup function video. It is the last video before this exactly, so do well to check it out. It's in the playlist. All right. So here we have now one thing I want to mention is make sure you always use the exact match. That's another hint I should add here. Use exact match. That means false for your lookup functions. Always use the exact match, which is false for your lookup function. Now just double click it. I could have typed it or put 0, still the same thing. Now hit enter. So let me just add that there quickly. So use exact match exact match for lookup functions, that is false, because false is what? Oh, escape. All right, I didn't remember to add the space. Okay. That is the false. False is what gives us the exact match option. So we got the laptop name. If I fill this down, boom, NA, 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 right? I'm getting NA. Why? Because this 999 does not exist in this lookup ID. Though there are other problems, right? Let's look at the other problems that are there. If I double click on the first NA, okay, I'm going to check now. You can see the table has moved. So what do? We log the cell. That's another error on its own. So I'll come back to the first one. I just enter the formula bar to do that. I'll highlight this. No, let me hide again. F4. It's the same. And I'll come back. It doesn't mean our any error will go, but we still have it there. Now, what do we want to do? What we want to likely do is wrap this in if error. Now, I told you if error is general purpose, so I'll enter the formula bar at the top. Better to start from the first one. I'll enter the formula bar directly, and I'll do Alt Enter, right? Alt Enter. Up here, I will type, okay, when you run it now, actually, if error. So do not forget, you don't need to touch your formula. That's how if error works. So if all of this formula will result in an error, what should you say? Alt Enter again. Say product does not exist, or no product with this ID. No, anything descriptive. No product with this ID. So whatever is descriptive, and I'll hit enter, and I fill it down again. So I'm getting what? No product with this ID, which is nice. But we have a better one to use. Instead of using if error, which is general purpose, we can use if any. Is another error debugging. So if any, so let me add that here. Let me insert a new cell below, shift cells down. Oh, okay. I want this up. And I'll duplicate this. Use if any for lookup functions. All right, so it's good to use if any because that's more specific instead of if error, because the kind of error lookup function returns are NA function not available. So if any, you see, I've changed it now to if any. It's still going to do the same thing, no doubts. Nothing is going to change, but it's better when we use if any, which is more specific. You can see nothing happened. We now have if any in all the formulas. Right? So, which is nice to have. Now we have been able to fix the problem. But there's even a better way, right? Without using the if any and if function, we have the ultimate XLOOKUP that has inbuilt error handling inside it. Inbuilt. So if I do XLOOKUP, if you don't have it, do not panic. Like I always said, you can always use WPS. It's a free version, whether you're using Mac, Windows, or Linux operating system. It's compatible across all, and it's free to use, and it has this function in there. So this is the ID I want to look for. This, now highlight this. Of course, I will lock that range. F4, then a comma. What do I want to return? Okay, since I'm using XLOOKUP, I don't need to highlight the entire thing, so I'll just highlight this only. Okay, Then what do I want to return something from? I want to return something from here. So I'll enter. So I start slowing down. Okay, we're getting any, we're getting 0, we're getting any, we're getting 0. Why are we getting 0? Of course, our range moved. So two things. Oh, do not forget, if you're not comfortable editing formula, you just enter a formula bar and do that. Okay. So here I will do F4, log that range. So it's enter again. Okay, now we are getting the NAs for the ones that are not found. Now, how do we fix it? XLOOKUP as if not found in there. If not found. If not found. So we can do if not found. So we say no product with this ID. Simple, easy peasy. So of course we can do match mode. It also has match mode, exact match. Don't forget, very important. Put exact match. And it also has a search mode, which is search first to last, last to first. But feel free to explore that on your own. And I'll hit enter. And boom. You see, it does the same thing. Inbuilt error handling function for lookups. So it's always a good one to use. So regardless of what you're using for your lookup, whether you're using index match, VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, you can always infuse. You can always nest it into an if any function. But if you're using the XLOOKUP, it has an inbuilt error handling error handler. Yeah, let me just put it that way. It has an error handler inbuilt into it. So yes, we have come today. You can call it the first section or the first part. Of course, the video still continues, so we're not done yet. It says value not available. And for this, I'll put this here as usual. Hold on, it's slowing down. I think I'll just break it into two. Right, let's break it into two. Yes. So we have covered the first phase of the Excel errors, the first function, so that the video is not too long. I'll cut this here. That means I'll stop it here and then go to the next one in another video. But of course, they'll be together. So after this, you should be seeing the next one. And so call it part 1 and part 2. Okay. So yes, that is that on the common Excel functions. You see. So it's value not available, common in VLOOKUP or match when data is missing, not just match, common in lookup functions. Let me just retype what I put then there. Common in, or is it common with or common in? Yeah, English people just do whatever it is. Common in, yeah, my brain sometimes just cannot let go, but I'll let go this time. Common with value not available, common in lookup functions. Okay, I need help here. You can tell I need help. Function when data is missing. So let's keep it that way. Yeah. So yes, we are going to cover the core Excel errors. I'm able to cover the core ones, the common ones, the ones you see most times, and they happen from a function when you're using a function or something. So we still have some other kind of errors which will be seen in the next part of this Excel error. So see you in the next one. Do not to comment, leave a like, share your thoughts, share with someone else who this might help and go a long way for. You get a thank you for them. They'll be happy you did. Do not to subscribe, turn on the notification button, keep it on all. Now when you get a new video, when this part 2 drops, you'll be the first person to get notified. Okay, see you in the next one. Bye.